Hi guys, this is Kiana Solitario, second year BSc from National University, and welcome to my tutorial vlog. And our topic for today is all about debt restructuring. So let us first define debt restructuring. It is a situation where the creditor, for economic and legal reasons related to the debtor's financial difficulties, grants to the debtor concession that would not otherwise be granted in a normal business relationship. So, para mas maintindihan natin, hindi ba't sa normal business relationship kapag tayo ay nangutang ng pera, kailangan ibalik din natin ito in the form of money. Kaya naman, nangyayari ang debt restructuring if si debtor ay nakakaranas ng financial difficulties kung saan wala na siyang kakaya ng mabayaran pa si creditor. And mangyayari lang ang debt restructuring if it is both agreed by creditor and debtor and if it is imposed by law. Dito, ang objective ni creditor is to maximize the recovery of investment and siya rin yung nagsusustain normally ng accounting loss at si debtor yung usually realizes accounting gain. Meron tayong three types of debt restructuring. First is the asset swap, the equity swap, and the modification of terms. Let us first define the asset swap. It is a transfer of asset by the debtor to the creditor. Bilang kabayaran, yun nga, pwedeng ibigay ni debtor yung kanyang kahit na anumang asset. It can be real estate, inventory, receivables, and investment. Under PFRS 9, paragraph 3.3.1, asset swap is treated as the recognition of a financial liability or extinguishment of an obligation. So para mas maintindihan natin, here is an example. Camila Company provided the following balances at year-end. Note payable, 4 million. Accrued interest payable, 600,000. And at year-end, Camila Company transferred to the creditor land with carrying amount of 1,500,000 and fair value of 2 million. To compute for that, i-add natin yung notes payable at accrued interest payable. So 4 million plus 600,000 is equal to the total liability of 4,600,000. At ibawas naman natin yung carrying amount of land kanina na binigay, which is 1,500,000 to get the gain on extinguishment of debt, which is 3,100,000. Nagkaroon tayo ng gain on extinguishment of debt dahil sabi nga sa PFRS 9, paragraph 3.3.3 provides that difference between the carrying amount of the financial liability and the consideration given shall be recognized in profit or loss. Next is the journal entry. So, i-recognize lang natin yung mga liability, debit notes payable, 4 million, debit accrued interest payable, 600,000. At de-recognize din yung land na ibinayad natin. So, credit land, 1,500,000. And credit gain on extinguishment of debt na 3,100,000. Next is the other method used in the asset swap, which is the USA GAAP. Through this, asset swap is recorded as if two transactions have taken place, the sale of the asset and the extinguishment of liability. In this, two gains or losses are recognized. First is the fair value of asset less its carrying amount is equal to the gain or loss on exchange. The second one is carrying amount of liability less the fair value of asset is equal to the gain or loss from restructuring. So example, assume lang natin na meron tayong fair value of land na 2,560,000 and carrying amount of land na 1,250,000. So pag minusin lang natin sila and we will get gain on exchange which is 1,310,000. Next is meron naman tayong notes payable na 2,500,000 and accrued interest payable na 350,000. So pag-add natin sila para makuha yung total liability na 2,850,000. Then minus the fair value of land na 2,560,000 to get the gain on debt restructuring na 290,000. Next is the journal entry. So the recognized the two liabilities, debit notes payable 2,500,000 and accrued interest payable 350,000. They recognize also the land, so credit land 1,250,000 and they recognize the two gain, credit gain on exchange 1,310,000 and gain on debt restructuring 290,000. Kung mapapansin nyo, under USA GAAP, we recognize two gains, but under the PFRS 9, both of the gain are recorded under the account title of gain on extinguishment of debt. But PFRS 9 shall be followed as this is in conformity with the International Accounting Standard. Next is the Dasyon and Pago accounting. It is another type of asset swap. It arises when mortgage property is offered by the debtor in full settlement of the debt. It recognizes gain or loss based on the balance of the liability, kasama na yung accrued interest at other charges. Kapag yung balance ng liability ay mas mataas kaysa sa carrying amount ng mortgage property, we have gain on extinguishment of debt. If the balance of liability is mababa naman kaysa sa carrying amount ng mortgage property, we have loss on extinguishment. For example, Vito Company has a land costing 450,000 and building costing 3,950,000 with accumulated depreciation of 750,000 were mortgaged to secure a bank loan of 2,950,000. The face amount of loan is 2,950,000, accrued interest payable 150,000, and the legal fee and bank service charge is 25,000. Subsequently, the land and building were given to the bank in full payment of the liability. Next is the journal entry. They recognize the liabilities, debit mortgage payable 2,950,000 and accrued interest payable 150,000. They recognize din natin yung binayad nating land and building, so credit land 450,000 and credit building 3,950,000. Also debit bank service charge 25,000 and accumulated depreciation 750,000. Mapapansin na mas mababa yung balance ng ating liability kaysa sa mortgage property. That is why magkakaroon tayo ng loss on extinguishment which is 375,000. Next form naman ng debt restructuring is the equity swap. Dito, nag-i-issue si debtor kay creditor ng share capital bilang kabayaran sa kanyang obligation. But ang tanong is, how should an entity measure the equity instrument issued? Under IFRIC 19, an entity shall measure the equity instruments at fair value of the equity instruments issued, unless the fair value cannot be measured reliably. Or simply stated, it is measured at the following amounts in order of priority. First is the fair value of the equity instrument, and kung wala ito, gamitin yung fair value of liability extinguished, and if wala pa rin yun, carrying amount of liability extinguished. So now the difference between carrying amount of liability and equity instrument issued shall be recognized in profit or loss. Now, ito ang example. Emma Company showed the following data at year-end. Bonds payable, 3 million, accrued interest payable, 200,000. The entity issued share capital with total par value of 1 million and fair value of 2,500,000 in full settlement. The fair value of bonds payable is 2,700,000. Diba may order of priority tayo kanina? Since given naman yung fair value of shares issued, ito muna yung una natin gagamitin. So, ide-debit natin yung bonds payable na 3 million at yung accrued interest payable na 200,000. And magkakaroon din tayo ng share capital kasi nga nag-issue tayo ng shares at par value natin siya i-record. So, credit share capital 1 million. Meron din tayong share premium which is 1,500,000. Nakuha siya dahil yung fair value of shares issued minus yung par value. So, 2,500,000 less 1 million is equal to 1,500,000. And magkakaroon din tayo ng gain on extinguishment of debt na 700,000 which is credit. Nakuha siya dahil yung fair value of shares issued minus doon sa carrying amount of liability. So 3,200,000 less 2,500,000 is equal to 700,000. Ngayon, assume naman natin na hindi given yung fair value of shares issued. So, ang gagamitin naman natin is yung fair value of bonds payable. So, i-recognize lang natin yung bonds payable ulit at accrued interest. So, debit bonds payable 3 million and accrued interest payable 200,000. And then yung credit share capital ulit at par which is 1 million. At yung share premium credit, 1,700,000. Nakuha siya dahil yung fair value of bonds payable naman minus the par value of shares. So, 2,700,000 less 1 million is 1,700,000. Next is credit gain on extinguishment of debt. Nakuha siya dahil carrying amount of bonds payable 3,200,000 minus the fair value of bonds payable 2,700,000 is equal to the gain on extinguishment of debt 500,000. What if hindi given si fair value of shares issued at fair value of bonds payable? Ang gagamitin natin is yung carrying amount of bonds payable. De-recognize lang ulit yung bonds payable and accrued interest payable and then credit share capital at par value. Yung share premium natin, nakuha naman natin siya using carrying amount of bonds payable 3,200,000 less the par value which is 1 million equals to 2,200,000. In this case, wala na tayong i-record na gain on extinguishment of debt because it is stated that if the carrying amount of the liability is used, there is no gain or loss on extinguishment. And the last form of debt restructuring is through modification of terms. It may involve either the interest, maturity value, or both. In the interest concession, it is the reduction of interest or forgiveness of the unpaid interest. Under naman ng maturity value concession, either extension of maturity date or reduction of principal amount. Under PFRS 9, it provides that a substantial modification of terms of an existing financial liabilities shall be accounted for as a extinguishment of old liability and a recognition of new financial liability. Magkakaroon lang ng substantial modification of terms kung ang makukuha nating gain or loss on extinguishment is at least 10% of old financial liability. At para naman makuha ang gain or loss on extinguishment, i-minus mo yung present value of new liability sa carrying amount ng old liability. Dahil nga involved ang interest kapag sa modification of terms, magkakaroon tayo ng new effective interest rate at old effective interest rate. Pero kapag kukumputin na natin yung present value of the liability, ang gagamitin natin is the old rate. For example, note payable due January 1, 2020, 4 million at 14% effective rate. And accrued interest payable 1 million. The entity is granted by the creditor the following concessions. Mawawala na yung accrued interest na 1 million because it is forgiven. The principal obligation is also reduced to 3 million. And the new interest rate is 10% payable every December 31. And lastly, the new date of maturity is December 31, 2023. Here is the computation. For the present value of 1 at 14% is equal to 0.5921. And for the present value of an ordinary annuity of 1 at 14% then is equal to 2.9137. The present value is at 4 periods. For the present value of principal, 3 million, which is the face amount of the new liability times 0.5921 kasi PV of 1 ang ginamit kasi isang bagsakan lang siyang babayaran. So, equals to 1,776,300. For the present value of interest payments, 300,000 times 2.9137 is equal to 874,100. Yung 300,000 nakuha siya kasi yung 3 million tinimes sa bagong rate na 10%. Tapos 2.9137 yung ginamit na present value dahil every year siya babayaran. So 1,776,300 plus 874,100 is equal to the present value of new note payable, which is 2,650,410. So, ipag-minus natin yung face value of new note payable at yung nakuha nating present value of new note payable. So, 3 million minus 2,650,400 is equal to the discount on note payable, which is 349,590. Ang susunod naman natin ko-computein is the gain on extinguishment of debt. Para makuha yan, ang una muna nating gagawin ay ipag-add yung mga old payable. So, note payable, 4 million and accrued interest payable, 1 million. So, equals to the carrying amount of old liability na 5 million. And ilas natin yung nakuwang present value of new note payable na 2,650,410. So, 5 million less 2,650,410 is equal to the gain on extinguishment of debt na 2,349,590. Next step is the journal entries. First, to record the extinguishment of old note payable. So, i-recognize lang natin yung mga note payable at accrued interest payable. So, debit silang dalawa. So, note payable, 4 million and debit accrued interest payable, 1 million. Meron din tayong nakuwang discount on note payable na 349,590. Debit siya kasi ang normal balance ng discount on note payable is debit. And mag-credit naman tayo ng panibagong note payable natin na 3 million, which is the face amount. And the gain on extinguishment of debt na 2,349,590. Next is to record the interest payment on new note payable for 2020. So, magkakaroon tayo ng interest expense, debit, 300,000 and credit cash, 300,000. Nakuha siya using the face amount ng new liability times the new effective rate na 10%. Next is to amortize the discount on note payable for 2020. Kapag nagkaroon tayo ng discount on note payable, unti-unti natin siyang babawasan taon-taon at marerecord bilang interest expense. So, debit interest expense, 71,057 and discount on notes payable na 71,057. Na-compute siya using the interest paid 3 million times 10% which is 300,000 and interest expense using the 14% interest rate times the present value of new notes payable which is 371,057. So 300,000 less 371,057 is equal to the discount amortization which is 71,057. And i-add natin doon sa carrying amount ng January 1, 2020 which is the same as the present value ng new liability, 2,650,400 plus 71,057 is equal to 2,721,467. And ito na ngayon yung carrying amount natin at year end. Now, let us consider the point of view of the creditor. So, journal entries for 2020 on the books of creditor. So, meron na siyang bagong note receivable, so 3 million debit. Kung si debtor ay may gain on extinguishment of debt, kabaliktaran naman ito para kay creditor. So, si creditor magkakaroon ng loss on debt restructure at same amount. So, debit, loss on debt restructure, 2,349,590. And the recognition of the old note receivable na 4 million, credit, and credit accrued interest receivable 1 million. At yung discount on note payable ni debtor ay magiging unearned interest income kay creditor. At year-end, magre-recognize si creditor ng interest income. So, debit cash 300,000 at interest income 300,000. Kung ano yung amortization ng discount kay debtor ay magiging interest income naman kay creditor. So, magiging debit, unearned interest income, 71,057 and credit interest income, 71,057. Now, that concludes our discussion, and remember the three forms of debt restructuring: the asset swap, the equity swap, and the modification of terms. So, thank you guys for reaching until the end of this discussion, and I hope that you learned a lot from this tutorial. See you on my next vlog.